Right. So today we're going to learn about the tea. Even the tea is not really the major commodities, but still we put in the syllabus because tea is one of the popular drinkings in Malaysia. In Malaysia, it's around the world. Tea and coffee, they are popular drinking. This, the process is a little bit different on the quality part, on the processing and etc. But there are similarity a bit, especially when you talk about the pigmentation process, the browning and so on. So there will be a similarity between tea, coffee, cocoa. So we're going to cover a little bit on cocoa after this, right? Let me minimize this thing. Okay. So at the end of this topic, you should be able to explain the biochemistry changes during processing, and then what is the quality measures for the tea, how to determine the tea quality, is it a normal process, and so on. So any idea how the tea manufacturing, how the tea manufacturer make sure that the tea produced in that company is consistent. So, for example, you buy a tea today, a green tea, and then you prepare the green tea, you get the green tea. Tomorrow you go to the market, you buy the same brand, mention green tea, and you still get the green tea. You not get the brown tea or black tea. So there is a method the manufacturer will use to determine the quality, to measure the quality, and so on. So it also involved in the selection of the packaging materials. All right. So we're going to cover about introduction a bit on tea, how the tea become a commercial crop, and then a bit on functional properties of tea, why people are taking a tea, and then we go on the production and processing, and then we cover the quality measures for the tea, and a bit on the issue related to the tea, right? So as introduction, the tea definition for the tea is Camellia sinensis. So there's only one plant. If you want to claim for the tea, is Camellia sinensis. So it's in line with the food regulation, 1985, when the tea defined as only this type of plant, Camellia sinensis. So if you use other plant, for example, people are preparing the drink using papaya leaf. You know papaya, right? Because papaya is good for the. There is a say that papaya is good for those who having apa tu dengue fever, right? So one manufacturer they take the papaya leaf, they dry, and then they ground into powder, and then they put in the sachet, and then they claim as a tea. Is it possible or not to claim as a tea? Anybody?
Repeat the question. Cannot hear clearly.
You cannot hear clearly. Okay. Let's say somebody prepare a papaya leaf. So they dry the leaf, and then they put the leaf into powder, and then they name as a tea, papaya tea leaf. Is it possible or not?
If the labeling must tell the plant sources, I think still can, because we have other like misai kucing tea, lemongrass tea.
Yeah, so misai I won't mention about misai kucing tea, but this is the thing in market. Misai kucing tea, even you see the pecah batu tea, is it you can mention as a tea according to the food regulation?
It doesn't fulfill the definition of tea.
Yeah, exactly.
If according to food regulation.
Exactly. Why? Why?
Because our regulation mentioned clearly that it must be from Camellia sinensis plant.
Yeah.
To be defined as tea.
Yeah, to be defined as tea, it should be the Camellia sinensis. So that's why other crops they can mimic the processing of tea, but to name as a tea actually is not fulfill the standard by food regulation 1985. So so that's the thing. I mean, all right. So tea is a perennial crop. Perennial means that they are growing around the year, so they don't have 4 seasons. That's why it's quite ideal plant to be grown as a commercial plant because you don't have 4 seasons. Like rubber, they have some season they will be drop on the production, but tea is different. Okay, growing in the equatorial region like Malaysia and a few countries, India. So if you see in the Katolik region, this is the tea producers, and then they produce the best quality of tea. So there is a says that tea and coffee, also tea, coffee, and cocoa is also a reason why the Western country come to the East for colonization, because in their culture they are taking a lot of tea and coffee, right? If you see the British culture, they are taking tea. The English culture, they're taking coffee a lot. So that's why it's about this tea. All right. So when you talk tea, there are two varieties. First, they call as China type, which is growing in China, parts Himalayan, and so on. Another one is Asamica, which is in the South Himalaya, and also in the Assam close to the India. All right. So this is the region. The China type will be around this region, and the Assam type from this region. So Malaysian tea basically come from the Assam. So by the British long time ago, so they bring together the tea from this Assam region to Malaysia. Right. So when we look the highest producers the tea in the world will be Sri Lanka, China, India, and so on. So Malaysia is not the bigger producers, but still we have enough tea for local consumption. But we didn't export much to overseas to other country because not many producers for the tea in the world in Malaysia. How many producers of tea in Malaysia? That you know?
Only both.
Okay. Then?
Sabah tea.
Sabah tea is not really the main producers because their production area is quite small.
Barat?
Barat tea. Okay. And then I think that's all. The major producers tea. Barat. I don't know about Lipton, which brand that the Barat tea produce, but the boh is the one common. The common that we use, boh. Okay. So, is it tea only grown in highland, like Cameron Highland, or we can grow the tea in the lowland? Can we grow the tea in the lowland?
I think we can, but the optimum condition should be at the highland.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So we can grow the tea lowland. This is lowland tea, but the quality is not really good compared to the highland tea because the morphology will be different. The tree morphology will be different. The highland tea they expose the light, the sunlight more longer time compared to the lowland tea. The size of the tree will be different. The harvesting practice also different. Basically for the lowland tea they will use mechanical harvesting method because they have a flat land, so they can have machine working on the harvesting. But the highland, they cannot use mechanical too much because they are stick on the highland, right? Right. This is the producers, the tea market share. China, one of the bigger tea producers, because tea is part of their culture. Then, well, the nice thing in the tea is they have many pigment compound. Okay, so that's why when you pour tea in the water, or you put the hot water in the tea, then you see the color, suddenly the brown color, the green color release from the tea powder because they are a pigment. Okay, so how to develop the pigment and so on, so that determine the quality of the tea, the process and so on. So if you use different process, even though they're from the same parts of the tea, they will have different product. Right. So we go a brief on the different type of tea. The first one they call as white tea. Why they call as white tea? Because the color is almost colorless, white color. Uh, it's like you drink we call the plain water, but you can feel the tea flavor inside. So this is one of the most expensive tea in the world. You can Google it, the white tea. Why is expensive? Because they use only the very young shoots of the tea buds, and then the yield is quite less. They have to use manual picking. They cannot use mechanical picking, and then they have to use the same processing for the green tea. So why the processing for the green tea is important? Because that will determine the quality. When you study the thing, the green tea will be like a benchmark of the tea preparation. Some people like green tea, some people like brown tea. Okay, so it depends on your application of the food. All right. So second type of tea, they call as green tea. Both white tea and green tea, they can remove the color because they deactivate the enzyme. What enzyme in the tea that involved in the oxidation process? Apa enzyme dia? If you still remember your micro components, your first semester, right?
Is it polyphenol oxidase?
Polyphenol oxidase, right? So polyphenol oxidase, when you do a preparation of the tea, for example, you do chopping, you do drying, and so on, you're going to expose polyphenol to its substrate, which is a phenolic compound. Phenolic compound located in the vacuum, right? So when you're drying, when you are cutting the leaf, so you allow polyphenol to meet its substrate, which is polyphenol oxidase to meet its substrate, which is a polyphenol located in the vacuum, and then they convert to the pigment. Right. The third tea they call as oolong tea. Oolong tea, this is a little bit brown color compared to the green tea because they are partially fermented. Partially fermented means that they allow the oxidation to occur for a certain time before they stop the oxidation process. So how do you stop the oxidation process for the tea? By using?
Steaming or?
By using steaming or heat treatment, right? Heat treatment. So you steam the leaf with the hot air steam, so they already deactivate the enzyme. If not, if they allow the enzyme to function, polyphenol oxidase study, they're going to produce very brown color of the tea. Right? Okay, black tea is a fully fermented tea or fully oxidized tea. You must be question, right? Why people are looking for this type of tea, which is black tea or fully fermented tea compared to the green tea, because the green tea, as I mentioned earlier, the green tea is more healthier compared to others tea. But why people are still looking for the black tea? People are looking for the oolong tea. For what reason?
The
Buat teh
fragrance.
susu.
Sana?
The fragrance.
Yes, the fragrance of the tea. The taste will be stronger in the black tea compared to other type of tea. That's why they call the first type that they call as white tea. So white tea means that it's like nothing, but you can smell and then you drink a bit tea, and then you can just taste a very low amount of the tea. But for those who prefer to have like cow, which is not cow and animal, so like Syazra tak faham. You have like a strong taste for the tea. It's better to take this black tea or partially fermented tea. Right. Before we start to the second part,